This is Michael L. Dublin Sr. bringing you just a few words of encouragement. We just finished celebrating, most people in February or many, Black History Month. We had two parts here at South Central Church of Christ in Raleigh. We had it on Saturday and on Sunday. We featured the Gullah Geechee culture and its history prior to coming here. We had two speakers, one from Ghana, one from Senegal, and talked also about the food. And we had a chef that talked about the connection between the food and how rice began to be popular and wherever it's from. And although we are often told it is Asian, but it's actually like many other things in Africa, and the power of the original watermelons come out of Africa, and it's just so many other things that we learned. But above all, we were connected to a spiritual history that shows how much we've been lied to, misled, bamboozled, and how much of that we've absorbed. And there's times we haven't questioned things because we have been in the past an enslaved people. And I think we still are an enslaved people, not because of physical chains. Enslavement really is about the mind, because no one can enslave your mind without your permission. And so while you're celebrating Black history and celebrating all of the issues that have come out of the Middle Passage and come out of the African diaspora and all of the issues around how our lineage has been broken. Most of us don't know which tribes we're from, which countries we're from. Many of us just can't make the connection. And as a result of that, sometimes we celebrate, but we're not sure what we're celebrating. So I just want to encourage you to not only celebrate, but do some research on why you're celebrating what you're celebrating, because it doesn't matter what clothing you put on at any time of the month or what month it is. That's not what's going to make the difference in who you are and who you become. Because who you become and who you are is not based on how and your willingness and your abilities to change what's on your head. What's really worth celebrating and where celebration comes is when Jesus said he has come to set us free. And he says, when the Son of Man sets you free, you are free indeed. And often, and I'm not criticizing anybody's congregation, but I keep hearing messages that talk about Jesus in a way that it doesn't make use of the power he's given us to transform and to change. Yeah, I got a big head, so they all kind of sit on top. But the reality of all of this is changing your mind, because in Christ, he tells you the truth. And he said that truth will set you free. And sometimes even in the church, we don't know what truth is, so we continue the same party line. All of our congregations are basically based on a European theology, a European mindset, and many of us many of our churches came out of our white congregations, but brought the same mentality, and not knowing that there were Black people in the scriptures, not knowing the rich history of Africa, not even willing to teach it, and sharing the same mindset that it's the dark continent, the greatest, richest continent that ever exists. We call it the dark continent, and we have a vision in our mind as a place where there's just giraffes and elephants and stuff, but not the major cities and not the powerful history of Timbuktu. People have gone so far as to discount, or not discount, but to try to move Northern Africa out of Africa. Throughout the text, we know it throughout history, Egypt is in Africa. But I promise you, do your research, go to any museum, and if you force them, they will acknowledge that it's on the continent of Africa, but it's not really Africa. And so while we are putting on the different hats, and this one fits a little better, doesn't it? There's a little bit more room there. And while we are celebrating whatever we celebrate, whatever country of origin, and all of the other things that we celebrate, get your rich history. Find out who Shaka Khan really was. Don't just go by the movie, because the movie gives some powerful history, but it also points Shaka Khan out as almost like these despotic toward the end of it, and that's just not true. Mansa Musa, and just think about and learn who these powerful kings were, who the Queen of Sheba was, and go into a history. And I would challenge all of the church leaders to either teach it or get out the way and allow people to be free. You're not going to be harmed in any way by understanding the power of history. And don't tell me that ethnicity does not matter. Even when you look in the text that we use, we call it the Judeo-Christian. We teach Judaism, and we teach what it means to have been a Jew, and we call God by Jewish names. All of the names we say to get God to respond are Jewish names, as though there's nothing else you can call him in which he will answer. That's just not true. But there again, that's a part of being duped and teaching Western theology. That is funny, isn't it? Maybe I should not have put that one on, but a lot of the crap that we receive is just as funny. And so I just want to say to you that if you're going to celebrate Black history, African American history, if you want to celebrate, remember that we were a thriving people, and that those people that came over on those ships in those ungodly, satanic ways through slavery were people. They were human beings, fully functioning human beings, not 3/4 of a man. And they weren't slaves who were brought here. They were free men and women who were brought and put into slavery. And that's significantly different. So remember, if you're going to live and you're going to celebrate, don't allow the world to take you down the path that it has taken you. And during this political season, we're just upset about all the different political candidates that the Democrats have around issues around females and all of the other issues. You still are a woman who is Black, no matter who your candidate is. And none of those candidates are going to change but so much, no matter what they say. And let's stop discounting the middle-aged and more conservative African Americans who have paid a price so that you could get here, only to hear you go on Facebook or throughout the community saying discount what has happened in the past, and we're going to change the system. We're going to do all of this, and you're not going to change any system. And it doesn't matter who you elect. You can impact it, but your greatest impact will not be in the national political system. If you're going to celebrate, then go to work in your church. Go to work on your sorority, your fraternity. Go out into the community. Work in your family. But to get on Facebook and post things and run around in a circle criticizing, that's not freedom. That's slavery. You're attacking your very own. So learn how to grow. Learn how to mature. And yes, be critical. Hold people accountable while you are doing the very thing you're holding them accountable for either doing or not doing. It is when we work together and we bring about a change. There again, in your place where you live, are you celebrating, are you learning, and are you known as the person that can sacrifice and will sacrifice for the betterment of your community? God bless you. Celebrate, beloved. Go ahead and celebrate. But don't celebrate somebody else's accomplishments as much as celebrating yours and the group that you're in, and come back to the table with accomplishments. Come back to the table free, and don't allow your freedom to be lost into the minutia of politics and the things that are going on today. Keep your freedom in Christ Jesus. Keep your freedom moving forward, and do all that you can to make the communities in which you thrive places of celebration.